Hi guys, Big P here again today, back with a nice new car for you, the 2020 Volkswagen Tiguan allspace. I think quite a nice blend of luxury and practicality. Very nice car to drive. Features the Volkswagen 2-litre diesel with 190 brake horsepower with a 4-motion system, which is a great system to have. Can be a little bit heavy at times, but good versatility, good grip, good traction all around. I'm going to show you around the car. We're going to take it for a little drive, see what you think. Very nice car to drive and cracking car to look at as well. So we'll go around the car and show you what it looks like, show you how practical this car is. With it being the allspace, it features the 7 seats as opposed to the 5-seat Tiguan, and it is a tiny little bit bigger, but does have a lot more space in there. So ideal if you've got, you know, extra kids or anything that need to jump in the back at times. You can fold those 2 extra seats out. Let's have a look at the car and let me know what you think. Like and subscribe if you like what we do. Got plenty more videos coming through, and we'll check this one out and we'll take it from there. So the Volkswagen Tiguan allspace, as you can see, does have quite a nice aggressive look to the front. Quite a nice drive generally, and has a front parking sensors on it, which are hidden in that grille at the bottom. Front fog lights and LED headlights, which are quite nice and do light up the road when it's quite dark. This particular car features the 19-inch 5-spoke Volkswagen monoblock type alloys, and they are quite nice. They do set the car off quite well, and generally the car does have quite nice features. Looking at it, looking down the side, the lines are quite nice, it sits quite well, has a roof rails on the top, and generally quite a nice looking vehicle. I think for a sort of growing family it'd be quite a nice car, and even generally this car has a full leather interior with heated seats, which is nice. It's a automatic transmission, which is the DSG box, full touchscreen satellite navigation, and even the instrument cluster in the middle, the speedometer, everything is all digital, which is quite nice. Multifunction steering wheel, and space wise it's quite a spacious vehicle. You got 2 seats in the first row and then 3 seats in your middle row, which obviously will come forward for you to give you access to the back row there, which can slide forward, and then you can basically access those seats there, which are your 2 folding seats, which make your 3rd row and create the 7 seats. I mean, in terms of space, you can see the footwell there. It does lower a little bit for you to put your feet in. It's quite nice because you've got these step downs to put your feet in, which a lot of cars don't have in these smaller type 7-seaters. All the middle row has Isofix in both the end seats, which is good if you have to put in baby seats whatsoever. And coming to the back of the vehicle, has got quite a nice looking rear end as well, and all LED rear lights, and the Volkswagen badge is quite nice, and it's all automated boot lid, and you can see there now that 3rd row of seating, which is quite nice. And once that seat's locked in there, you have a little handle there which knocks it down. Basically that's the handle on the top there, so we got the wrong one there. And basically you then have a nice flat load area, which is quite nice. You've got little drink holders here for the back seats when they need it, and you've got load anchors on both sides and at the rear here if you need to tie anything down. Now there's an extra sort of cubby storage down here which you can access, which is where your spare wheel sits down here. As you can see, once you lift this out here, you've got your spare wheel storage here, and this here is the space to keep this thing, which is your visor thing, which fits in these grooves here if you wanted to hide the load in the boot. This is quite good, because normally when you take these out of a car you have to put them inside the house somewhere. If anyone got one of these, you have to remove it and you just end up leaving it places. But quite clever with Volkswagen, they've made an area under the rear load space where you can keep that and save it from getting lost, and that cover goes over it, which creates a nice flat load area. It's quite generally a good sized boot as well for the size of car, which is quite nice. And you got a button there to close the boot lid. There you go, nice. And even then it's quite a big car. It managed to do 0 to 60 in about 8 seconds, just over, and 190 brake horsepower. I think it comes out about 188 to be precise, but it's classed as the 2 litre DSG 190. And even the passenger side seat is quite spacious, quite nice, and nothing obstructing your leg room there, which is quite nice. Got decent sized cubby holders on the sides where you got a space there to put a 2 litre bottle of water or anything you need to put in there. And you've got a nice drink holder here in the middle, and you've got this bit of cubby storage down here, and there's a storage there for your keys and whatever. And then there's your glove box here, which is not the biggest, but is there. And you've got the load nets on the sides there if you wanted to keep any extra bits and bobs, which is quite handy. Yep, so we'll take it for a drive and then take it from there, see what you think. Right, so let's take this Tiguan Allspace for a drive and see how we get on. It's an automatic gearbox, so we're in drive. It does feature a sport setting as well, which we won't bother with at the moment. But generally they say that the 4 motion systems can make the vehicle feel quite heavy, but driving this, I have to disagree. It's very light, pulls away very easily, and I don't feel like there's any lag of any sort. There's no heavy feeling. Doesn't feel like you're driving such a big car. It feels like I'm sitting in a Golf. It's that light, you know, and it's effortless. It just pulls away, and I'm in drive, I'm not in sport. And to be fair, I don't think, for the kind of vehicle it is, I don't think you can get any better than this. I mean, the only sort of criticism I do have with most Volkswagens, to be honest, is the seats are not the most comfortable. I always find that Volkswagen's leather seats, if you say, mostly the leather seats are quite sort of hard and robust, which is probably good in some ways, but I'm quite used to sitting on the sort of really, most leather seats that I sort of do like and sit on is sort of a lot more comfortable and sort of a lot nicer to sit on. When you're sitting on them, it feels like they sort of hold around you, whereas these are quite boxy, if you like. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I've always been like that. I remember I had a 2008 Volkswagen Golf, and it was exactly the same. It had these leather seats, black leather seats, which were really sort of hard and boxy, and they're probably in a way designed to support you a lot better and hold your body in your position a lot better than the sort of soft and spongy seats that I like. But you know, that's my opinion. So, you know, when you do sit in them, see what you think. And generally, otherwise, a very, very nice car to drive. The position, I mean, me being 6'2" and quite a sort of large guy, even for me, there's plenty of space to drive. It's comfortable, and even behind me there's enough space for another adult to sit behind me comfortably, no problem at all. And for that reason, I think it's a very good sized vehicle, and it's good for sort of like a growing family or somebody who picks up, you know, grandkids or things like that every now and then. And with the 4x4 system, you know, you're never going to get stuck if it's snowing or if the weather's bad or anything. I know we don't get a lot of snow, probably 1 month in the year, but it's always handy to have that four-wheel drive system for when you do need it. And generally, I think it's a very nice car to drive. And I must say, I mean, it's 32 degrees outside today, which is quite rare for England, but it has been a nice couple of weeks, and the air conditioning in here is spot on. It's cooling the vehicle very well. And I know it's quite a new car, and this particular car's only done about 20,000 miles, but still the system is very good, and it does sort of I mean, I haven't even got the AC on max, I've got it on about half, and it's cooling wise, it's very good. I mean, the only thing I would have thought would have been good on this, and I know it's sort of a mid-range luxury, but would have been nice to have cooled seats, but you don't get cooled seats on many cars these days, only the top end. But I think that would have been a nice option to add if you could have. It's got heated seats, and it's got the sort of dual climate control and everything like that. It's got a nice touchscreen satellite navigation, and it's got a large panoramic sunroof here which opens all the way, which is nice. It's a nice feature to have. So generally a very nice car to drive. And you know, driving along now sort of 50-60 miles an hour, it's just cruising around beautiful. And I'm sure if you put this on the motorway and did 70 and 80, even with 4 or 5 people in there, it would hold the road quite well. And even going around the bends at sort of 55-60 on these country lanes, you don't feel any oversteer or anything like that. Sometimes with these bigger cars, because they're quite high, you can feel going around the bends that you're sort of going around with them, but it does generally hold the road very well, and it's quite nice. But you can sort of buy earlier models of these now. I think they start in 2018 for the allspace, and retail starts on them at about 18,000 for a second-hand one. Might be higher mileage though at that, and anything sort of 20, 21, 22, you'll be looking sort of between 25 and 40 depending on the mileage and condition. But to put a rough average, I'd say between 20 and 40,000, you'll be looking at, you know, a decent allspace that you could buy. And if you look at what you'd buy in comparison to this, you're getting quite a lot of car for your money. I mean, 7-seaters, sort of mini MPVs and things like that, they don't sort of look as good, if you like. And a lot of the SUVs now that do look nice and are nice to drive are mostly 5-seaters, so you don't get those extra 2 seats. Even if you compare it to something like you know, a Discovery Sport, which is what I would put in its kind of class, looking at how the car is and how the car drives, I think this is generally a better car and a better drive than that. But you know, that's something that you'd have to look at. Obviously the full-size Discovery, which we reviewed earlier on in the channel, is a different class altogether. It's a lot bigger, a lot larger, and it's a different class of car altogether. But for a compact 7-seater, I think this is very nice. I mean, I've got a Citroen Grand Picasso, which is a 7-seater as well, which is quite a spec'd out model with leather and everything, but in terms of drive, this is a far better drive than that. And obviously this is a 4-wheel drive as well, and obviously it's a little bit more to buy as well, but otherwise it's quite good. But I mean, we'll stop now and we'll put it into sport and give it a little bit of launch and see how it goes. And to be fair, it doesn't seem like it's going to struggle in acceleration in any way. It does pull away quite nicely, and that display, it's fantastic, absolutely lovely. It's all digital, shows you the 7-speed DSG gearbox, shifting gears, The miles per hour is displayed in a digital format and in analog, which is quite nice. You've got your temperature on this one side and your fuel gauge on the other side, and the touchscreen's quite nice. Even if you have your hand over it, it knows that you're there, so it lights up the screen, which is quite nice. Picks up that you might be wanting to do something. And a great thing, which I think is needed on all vehicles like this, is on the navigation screen, your volume is actually a little knob that you can turn rather than going through the touchscreen. Sometimes you want to just quickly turn the volume off, and you can just press a button rather than looking for up and down in your touchscreen, which I think is a really good thing that they've done on these. And the volume and things like that's good. It's all at the bottom. Your heater switches are all pretty easy. You don't have to go into any complicated menus or anything like that, which is a nice thing to have. And it does have quite a nice interior in terms of, has a sort of carbon effect trim, which I'm pretty sure is not carbon fiber but just a sort of carbon effect, but is quite nice generally. There's bits of plastic, like here this is plastic at the top, but then you've got a leather console at the top here, and you've got a leather steering wheel, stitched steering wheel, which is nice. Your gear knob's leather as well, so it matches up with the seats. And then you've got a different mode setting here where you can choose between sort of snow mode, and then you've got normal eco mode, and then you have a off-road, and then you have off-road individual, so you can tune that to what kind of driving you're doing. When you go into each mode, it gives you, even when you're in the eco mode, you can put it to normal or put it to sort of eco mode. So it depends how you want to drive it really. There's a lot of modes you can choose from, so it gives you a lot of different options on how you're planning on driving this vehicle. So I don't think a lot of people would be taking it off-road, but if you wanted to, it would be there. Now I've put it into eco mode, my display is showing E7 rather than D7, which basically will improve your fuel economy. I mean, I would have thought these would be doing sort of north of 45 to 50 mpg. This particular car is showing an average at the moment of 36.7, but it's driven quite a lot on city roads, so I would say that mpg is a sort of average of mostly short trips, because it doesn't get a lot of long trips. So I'm going to put it into D now, which is sport mode now, which is now sort of put it into sport, and I will, there's actually paddles on the steering wheel as well to change your gears. Here you've got a minus and a plus, and you can actually shift on the lever as well, but I'm going to let the car do it for me, because personally I think on these type of cars the paddles ain't the greatest to use, but if you get used to them I guess they're okay. But let's give it a shut launch and see how we go. Got a bit of empty road there. Not the best, but yeah, it's okay. I mean, it has I guess it was going a bit quicker than it felt like, but when I looked down at the speedometer I was at sort of 50, 60 before I knew it, but a bit not exactly flying off the mark, if you know what I mean. But I'm sure it's not what this car's going to be used for. But 0 to 60 on these comes in at about 8.6, which is a rough average for this type of vehicle. So I would say generally not too bad. And you know, if you wanted one of these and you did want a bit more performance, you can always remap it. You know, diesels give you 30% more on the turbo diesels if you give them a quick map and a decent remap. But obviously that's down to the driver, and how many times you're going to need that really. Most times when you're cruising like this it's okay. And I mean, sort of mid-range is quite nice. It picks up the gears quite well, because it does sort of keep you in a lower gear just so that you've got that power when you need it. I mean it says I'm in S4 now, Sport 4, and it's at about 2000 revs. I mean, if I put my foot down, straight down, it does kind of sort of jump at you, which is quite nice. So it does have that acceleration, and I think I've downshifted it there, which has put me into eco. Put it back into sport there. It's in 5th. Right, I'm going to go in manual now. We'll try the manual as we go around the roundabout. And now the display shows M4, which has then put me into manual. So we'll go around the roundabout, drop it into 2. And even round the roundabout it revs at 2,000, because I think it would have. And off there. Oh yes, it's beautiful in manual. Straight into 3. Red lines just before 4,000 revs. Quite impressive when you're driving in manual, which I think you probably will never do, but I love to have a little play, you know. But there you go, straight out of it, lovely. Yeah, so I mean, generally, quite a nice drive. I think in terms of practicality and drivability for what the vehicle is, I would say if you're looking at one of these or something similar, or you're looking for a little 7-seater or something within this range, definitely a car to consider. Has the park distance control, so when you're parking the car it gives you a sort of projected display of what's around you, which is quite nice. And generally it's got everything you'd need for this type of car, so definitely want to consider. If you've got any questions, drop them in the comments below. Like and subscribe to the channel. All your support is much appreciated. We've got lots more cars coming through, and we will sort of review and drive anything that comes to us. And if you got anything that you'd like us to review, give us a shout. We'll pop down, come and see you. But if you're looking for a 7-seater, the Volkswagen Tiguan Allspace SEL 190 is definitely a car to consider. Has quite a luxurious spec and has quite a nice look to it. Is a good drive. Any questions, let me know. Drop me a question in the comments below. And like and subscribe, help the channel. Thank you very much. See you guys again soon. Take care.